Hey everybody, Nick Nack here, back again for another video. First off, just ignore the mask. I'm still trying to find my skeleton bandana, and because I can't, I'm using this. Need to clean up my house or apartment a bit more. But anyway, I wanted to get this video as done as possible because it's already 1 week now since it happened, and if you see on the title down below, I'm going to be talking about, of course, E3 2018. Now, if I were to describe the event in general, I'd say it was pretty decent. Maybe even way better than the past 1 or 2 years, if you ask me. Because they showed a whole bunch of games, and there were tons of surprises and world reveals. For this video, I'm going to be splitting it into 2 things. First, I'm going to be talking about the conferences, and second, I'm going to be talking about my favorite games that were shown at the conferences. Stuff that weren't revealed or shown at the conferences, like Soul Calibur 6 and Bloodstained, for example. I'm not going to be talking about them because they didn't have a presence in any of the big 3 conferences or any of the other conferences in general. But anyway, let's talk about how I will rank the conferences. First off, most of you have seen E3 already, and most of you have watched videos talking about E3. So there's no necessary delving in, me delving into them. What they shown, you don't really need to have me talk about it because you already know about it. So, first off, I'm gonna be ranking the conferences mainly the big 3, Nintendo, Microsoft, Sony, because the third parties and the PC gaming show, I really were kinda I mean, EA I had no interest in, didn't see it, I know it sucks. Square Enix was a bit disappointing or a massive disappointment. Ubisoft was okay because they showed Assassin's Creed and some Beyond Good and Evil 2 stuff. I kinda watched Bethesda. I've seen some of the announcements they had, so there's a chance that I might have liked it. The Devolver Digital seemed okay, and that's pretty much it. Also, I haven't seen PC gaming show, but the only things that had me interested is finding out that Yakuza is coming to PC, and that's pretty much it for them. Getting on with the big 3, however, first off, I'd like to give the 3rd place to Sony. Yeah, unfortunately, if we were to rank all 3 of them, they would have to be last. I mean, that doesn't mean it was bad. To give some good things about it and why I liked it, and in my opinion, it was way better than last year's. They actually showed some great footage of games, some great gameplay of it. I freaking love the Ghost of Tsushima. Last of Us 2 seemed promising. The Spider-Man gameplay was up. And as for world reveals, Neo 2 came out of nowhere, and Resident Evil 2 was awesome. And I surprisingly like that new game made by Rick and Morty creators. I'm actually kind of looking forward to that if it does have a physical release date. But they showed some great games, they showed some world reveals, but probably the biggest problems about this conference and why it ranks 3rd is, first off, the beginning. Most of you already know, after they showed that great gameplay for Last of Us 2, they had this long ass intermission, and that intermission just killed the flow of it. Yeah, biggest mistake, and if Sony were smart, they would not do that ever again in their upcoming conferences. Speaking of Last of Us 2, another thing that kind of sucked about it is the music performances. They had 2, fortunately, but they took way too long. That kind of pissed me off as well. And probably the final and 3rd biggest problem with this conference and why it's last place in my opinion is because that they ended it with Spider-Man, a game we've already seen gameplay of last year's E3, and we don't really need to see more of it. Most of us are already looking forward to this game, so we don't need more info on it, and we don't need to end it there. If you ask me, they should have just ended on Last of Us 2 or Ghost of Tsushima. But even though they had some blunders, I still gotta say it was a nice thing to watch, and of course, way better than last year. For second place in terms of the conferences, I'd have to go with Nintendo. What made this conference so good is that they show games that most people already knew about. Personally, there were some surprises for me that I never thought I expected would happen. Most people knew that Fortnite was going to be there. I personally did not know. There were rumors of Dragon Ball FighterZ being there, and they showed it. I still can't believe DBFC is getting a Switch port. Like, man, I didn't expect it to run it. So that was impressive and surprising for me. In terms of other things that were shown at the conference, probably the other things, sorry about that, other things that were great and made this conference better than Sony is because they had games that I seem to personally like and am a bit looking forward to. Like that mecha game in the beginning, that looks good. The Fire Emblem game looks very promising. See what else. And of course, Smash Bros. Ultimate. I think that's probably the three biggest games other than like the third-party announcements that made this conference well worth it and pretty decent. Yeah, like Smash Bros. Ultimate, I am looking forward to that game. And I am impressed on how they're playing every single character in that game. But we'll talk about that later. Now, in terms of why I ranked the second and not first, some biggest reasons, obviously, no showing of Metroid Prime 4 or Bayonetta 3. They had this shown that revealed at last year's E3, and we haven't seen shit from it. No gameplay trailers, no cinematic trailers, nothing from it. That's bullshit if you ask me. Second is because most of these games we already knew about or were rumored. Like even though they took me by surprise, most people already knew about Fortnite and Dragon Ball FighterZ coming to Switch and Paladins and all those sort of games. Like, congrats to Nintendo for getting those games, but it just kinda not surprised others. And probably the biggest flaw with this conference was the Smash Bros. Ultimate stuff. They dragged it on for like maybe 20 or 30 minutes talking about that damn game. Anybody who's played Smash Bros. Know what to expect. All they just had to do was show gameplay and show some characters reveals. But nope. I think the Sakurai guy, yeah, Sakurai's his name, he had to go on and drone about all the new changes and shit of these characters. If you're gonna do that, biggest question I want to know is, what exactly is the Treehouse and Nintendo Directs for? You could have done that on both of those things. But other than that, even though I have problems with that, and no Metroid Prime, no Bayonetta 3, and still, this is what they're doing to F-Zero fans like me. I'm like, Nintendo, hey, you want a new F-Zero? Haha, fuck you, bitch. That's what they're doing to guys like me, and I'm still getting pissed off at it. At least they better reveal announce Black Shadow or Samurai Goro for the next Ultimate game. That would be nice. And to quell my thirst of demanding a new F-Zero, But other than that, I'd say this Nintendo conference was well impressive. Personally, when I was watching it, I kinda like put the Sony and Nintendo conferences on the same level. But Nintendo obviously got the edge of it. And last but not least, the best conference in terms of the big three as number one would be Microsoft. Obviously, the main reason for this conference just being so good, impressive, winning like best of the conferences is obviously they showed a ton of games and had a ton of world reveals, like a Frozen world in Kingdom Hearts 3. Oh yeah, speaking of which, Sony, great thing that they show like Pirates of Caribbean World coming back, and the game has a new look to them. Yeah, but speaking of which, Frozen World, surprising and great to see at Microsoft's conference as a reveal. So great to see Kingdom Hearts 3. Also, the Battletoads stuff was pretty awesome. Even though we haven't gotten like actual gameplay footage or actual stuff, they actually did some things right that, in my opinion, have done more than like what Rare or Microsoft did for this trailer. I think they had more info on this than Nintendo had with Metroid Prime 4. Hey, come at me, guys. Come at me, Nintendo fans. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, like they just straight up said that 3-player multiplayer and 2.5D graphics. More info than what Nintendo did with Metroid Prime 4. Yeah. That's precise point. So like Metroid Prime 4, Kingdom Hearts 3, the review of Devil May Cry 5 was pretty freaking awesome. I love the gameplay of that. See, well, the studio acquisitions were probably huge surprises. Like even though we knew Forza's developer was mostly like gonna get bought out by them because that's all they're working on them for Microsoft, that was nice. Other developers like the State of Decay 2 being bought by Microsoft, that was pretty interesting. Probably the biggest surprise of the developer purchases, obviously Ninja Theory. I still can't believe that shit happened because it just came out of nowhere. But some part of me kind of thinks that might have happened due to, as they stated, their past history of making Kung Fu Chaos for the Xbox. I still can't believe Ninja Theory, guys who made Heavenly Sword and Enslaved, made a Smash Bros. Like game. That's besides the point. Let's see. Devil May Cry 5, Kingdom Hearts 3, some third-party gameplays, ending it off with Cyberpunk 2077. Excellent decision and a huge surprise. And that's also that Sarah K game, the new game by From Software that was originally announced or teased at the Game Awards. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was that game. That was surprising as fuck to see. And then of course you got the usual stuff like Forza, Gears, Halo, Crackdown. Yeah. All in all, just them showing all these tons of games was impressive. But even though I freaking loved Microsoft's conference and they had a better presented conference, if we were to look at one flaw you could take from this, is that most of these games were multiplayer. And I've seen some people on Twitter saying Microsoft's conference was it because of it. Okay, I get it. Well, like, their points that they made for it, I could agree with. But as a conference, as a whole presentation, it was really impressive, way entertaining. I hardly even got bored, except for Forza stuff, but it was enjoyable nonetheless. But as a Microsoft conference and like a conference on what they'll do to get me to buy an Xbox One, it was pretty bad, I'd say. Yeah, I still have no interest in getting an Xbox One because I could play most of those games on PC, and most of the games they showed were multiplayer. I could get on the PS4 or PC. But that's pretty much all I have to say. So again, ranking it: third place Sony, second Nintendo, and first place Microsoft. Now that that's out of the way, I'm gonna end it here by talking about my top 5 favorite games of the show. Let me transition so I can take a breather and get some water. But yeah, let's go, people. Okay, so on to games that I personally loved at the conference. Starting with number 5, I gotta give it to Resident Evil 2, the remake. Now, unfortunately, I'm still new to Resident Evil. I've only played Resident Evil 4 and 5. I still need to play the first 3. But the reason why I'm interested in this game is because I never played Resident Evil 2, of course. And this one is a straight-up remake, no tank controls. Just third-person shooting in the style of 4 and 5 and 6. So, lucky me that we're getting something that looks playable, because I don't know about you, but I freaking hate tank controls. That's pretty much all I have to say for it. Look very excited on how it's progressing. I've seen some of the gameplay on it. Looks very nice. I just really hope that it is like a straight up remake and completely faithful when it comes to story. Because if they take out stuff from the original game, that would kind of piss me off, because it would mean that I would have to play the original RE2 in order to get the rest of the story. Let's hope I don't do that. But yeah, Resident Evil 2 is number 5. Number 4 is a game that I kind of already talked about in the Nintendo conference, and that's Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. When it comes to gameplay and what they presented, there's really nothing to write home about and talk about too much, because if you play Smash Bros, you know what to expect. And the gameplay is just the same old fun, promising, or stuff that you'd expect from a Smash Bros game. And I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, the biggest thing on why this game is so hyped for me is because of the character roster. Every single character from the past Smash Bros games are all in one for this game. And I just can't believe it, how they'll fit maybe 40 or 50 characters as a whole, if I'm not mistaken. And some of them are built from the ground up and remade again, like Young Link and Pichu. Yeah, that's awesome. And of course, you got these big reveals like Ridley. Yeah, I still can't believe that. When I was on Twitter, I was laughing my ass off and saying LOL, Lamau, when he got revealed. Yeah, I still can't believe that happened. Fortunately, they're having more characters revealed in the next few months, so that is shaping up to be promising. Again, I really hope that they put Black Shadow or Samurai Goro as playable characters. Other than that, expect to see characters from ARMS, Xenoblade 2, maybe a new Fire Emblem character, some more Pokemon, and yeah, all that stuff. Fortunately, I hope they put some more third-party characters like Neku and Sora. That will get me hyped as fuck as well, on top of having F-Zero characters. But yeah, number 4, Smash Bros. Ultimate. For my number 3 favorite game of this show, I gotta go with Ghost of Tsushima. Probably the biggest reason why I'm looking forward to this game is because it's a realistic samurai game. And I'm a history major, and that's probably one of the biggest reasons why I'm looking forward to this game. I mostly like eat all the shit when it comes to historical fiction. That's why I enjoy Assassin's Creed a lot and get hyped for the new releases, even though unfortunately I still haven't gotten a chance to play them. I'm a busy guy, of course, and I have a backlog of games. But Ghost of Tsushima, other than the setting, which is pretty interesting because I want to learn more about it. A Mongol invasion of Japan that happened in the 13th century. Yeah, that's a pretty interesting setting. On top of that, it's made by Sucker Punch. And Sucker Punch, I don't think has done any wrong when it comes to making games. And probably when it comes to like the gameplay, it looks impressive. It looks like intense probably, and like a great samurai game. So that's pretty much all I have to say for my number 3, Ghost of Tsushima. Looks promising, and I hope we get more to it later on in the future. My number 2 most anticipated game that was shown at E3 is Devil May Cry 5. I would say I'm a Devil May Cry fan. I played almost every game except for 4, unfortunately, but I enjoyed every single one of them. And this one is shaping up to be pretty interesting and promising. Nero is the protagonist and is back. He's voiced by Johnny Young Bosch, which is pretty cool for me. Gameplay still is impressive and looks Devil May Cry, the original Devil May Cry as usual. And the graphics look great, even though some people might argue or say that would probably suck in terms of presentation wise because it looks exactly like DMC, like Nero kind of looks a bit like the emo Dante. I'm still looking forward to DMC 5. And yeah, the premise is kind of looking interesting. Like, I think Nero's taking over Dante's business. His arm has gotten like ripped off or cut off from what I've seen of the trailer. And the new character looks pretty cool, who gives him his new arm. So number 2, Devil May Cry 5. Can't really say much more because if you play Devil May Cry 5 or Devil May Cry, you already expect how hyped the action is and whatnot. And finally, for my number 1 game that I was hyped for, or am hyped for, that was shown at E3, is Kingdom Hearts 3. I would say I'm a pretty big Kingdom Hearts fan. I made a video back then saying it was my most anticipated game of all time ever. And after playing it, I still continue to be a fan. Well, from what most games I've played, I unfortunately still need to get into some, like Birth by Sleep, Dream Drop Distance, so forth. But from what I've played of the franchise in general, I'm a huge fan. And Kingdom Hearts 3, probably the reason why I'm most anticipated and excited for this is because I still can't believe we're actually getting it. And next year to be exact. I mean, it's a long time coming for us Kingdom Hearts fans. And even though it might be a bit disappointing when it comes to like what they're showing, or probably because of Square Enix in general, I'm still looking forward to the game. And yeah, what they've showed in terms of gameplay and the worlds look awesome. Frozen, most people kind of love and hate it. I'm kind of laughing at it because it's actually a world in that. Pirates of the Caribbean is back. It looks decent, and what they showed is looking to be intriguing because they're having all these characters return and whatnot. So yeah, number 1, Kingdom Hearts 3. And that's pretty much it for this video. Sorry that's like 20 minutes. I just keep rambling about a whole bunch of random stuff. And yeah. So as always, I want to thank you guys for watching. Take it easy, and until next video. And let's hope for next video I get my mask back and maybe like make some more content for this channel. So yeah.